The next location on my Ghosts of Gloucester feature is Poets Wine Bar. The building that was Poets is in an ancient lane off Westgate Street, which has been Bull Lane since the 1700s. Before this, it was known as Gore Lane, due to the butchers and slaughterhouses that used to exist there. The building now houses a new pizza bar called The Loft. We did an overnight investigation here because the then manager, Mouse, had experienced strange phenomena. He heard piano playing even though there was no piano in the building, and next door at that time was empty. He'd been prodded when no one was close by, being called out several times due to the intruder alarm going off for no apparent reason. Candles would relight, but most alarmingly of all, he saw a figure slumped in the chair upstairs by the fireplace on the security monitor. Thinking that the person may be in distress, he went up by the only stairs to see if he could help, only to find the room was empty. We started the investigation just after 11 with the Myers Paranormal Society, called Parasoc for short. Lynn made sure that only she and I knew of the phenomena that had been experienced, so we were impressed that Bruce mentioned activity at the fireplace.
Something over by the fireplace, a chill, and the stairs, just the top of the stairs here, something. That's basically it.
And Ross picked up images of a male sitting in the chair next to the fireplace, the very same spot where the figure had been seen.
But it does feel as though where you're sat now in that fireplace, a very important place, and a male figure. Certainly get the impression of things moving, like glasses or whatever.
During the investigation, Andrew and Bruce noticed that by the fireplace the needle of a howled compass was rotating, even though the compass was in a fixed point, suggesting that it could not find magnetic north. An EMF meter, EMF stands for electromagnetic field, when used in the same spot could only record a very low reading. Unfortunately, we could not rule out the possibility of electric cables or wires in the building next door. The room we were in had no visible electricity by the fireplace. I too witnessed the spinning of the compass needle, but by the time I got my camera to record it, it had virtually stopped.
This thing is just spinning round and round.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant.
And it's not stopping.
It's not.
It's just going round and round.
What, on its own?
Yep.
Oh, that's weird.
I'm not moving it.
Oh no, sorry, I was going to try and film some of this.
No, it's just stopped. But it was going round and round and round.
Saw it. At one point, Bruce could smell cattle, and although we turned it into a joke, could he have been picking up on the smells that would have been around when the area was called Gore Lane?
No, I don't know if it's to do with that toilet door, but I can smell cattle.
Cattle.
You know, like you go into a cow shed.
Smell like straw on top.
That kind of
Mosquito.
cow
Makes
Yes,
a
it's
pool
a
and straw.
sweetie farming.
Sweetest. What cow shed has sweets in it?
It's got a sweet smell, hasn't it? Sweety, soury, like a cow shed.
You know when you had sweets given to you as a kid, Bruce? What exactly did they give you?
So far, the night had been quite quiet, with no impressive paranormal activity. At 2 AM, we were discussing that we would have to look back over hours of boring footage.
Yeah, we'll sit back and watch the footage of nothing happening. I can't watch more than 5 minutes. I'll put it on, and then an hour later I open my eyes.
You just lose concentration, don't you?
Yeah.
However, little did we know, in a few seconds we were about to hear something that made us all start, and which was the loudest noise we had ever experienced on a paranormal investigation.
Well, I've got the mini disc recording down there, so if there's anything walking past the window, it should pick it up. I've got a walking crate for us, so I'll keep mine rolling on the way up there.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
God. God.
Nice one.
That just fell off, didn't it?
What?
What was it? What was it? That was the window. That was shut.
We were all surprised at what we had just heard, and although we had 4 cameras recording in the room, not one was pointing in the direction of the window where the noise had come from. On other investigations, we've heard noises that were audible to the human ear but were not picked up by the recording equipment. the opposite phenomena to EVP, which is a noise captured on the equipment but not heard at the time.
Go.
We looked around and tried to find a logical explanation for what we just heard. A walk-in cupboard that was next to the window was examined and appeared to be undisturbed. We tried to recreate the sound but failed, and after a lengthy discussion, Ross replayed the recording so that we could all hear it again.
Go.
Nice one.
That just fell off, didn't it?
What?
What was it?
What was it?
That was the window. That was shut.
After this startling event, the rest of the night was quiet. Recently I met up with Lynn and Bruce to get their views on the unusual sound that we captured.
I believe it was the sound of a cleaver coming down, because I know the building was a butcher's, and it sounds like a cleaver coming down onto a wooden block which a butcher would have used, hitting the head of an animal and then the animal's head on the floor, hence the sound of boom, boom, boom. But everybody else thinks it was the sound of the window shutting, which we know the window was not open when we went in, so how could it have closed? I can see where they're coming from, that it does sound like the window, but I beg to differ.
Go.
There was an almighty bang. It came from the corner of the room where there was a sash window. We quickly went over to where the sash window was, and we had a camera placed there, which was on a small writing desk there, a little table. Ross picked up the camera and played it back, and loud and clear, what we all heard was on the tape. It was a really loud bang. It sounded like a sash window banging. Having listened to it several times now, I'm convinced it's more of a desk sound, but the writing table that was in the corner was far too small, so it couldn't have been that. And there was a drawer on it, and we slammed it. We could not recreate the sound, basically. And you could even hear the desk or whatever it was rock on the floor, so you could actually hear it go slam, junk, junk onto the floor. Really strange. We have no idea what it was. I was facing that direction, absolutely nothing moved. Unfortunately, as usual, you've got all the cameras pointing where you think the activity is going to be, and it always happens in the bit that you've missed. So we've got nothing on tape, but I'm convinced nothing moved in that room.
I decided to take my footage to Chris Romer, who recently analysed some of my previous recordings.
Okay, now this is absolutely fascinating, isn't it? There's a number of people, there's 4 cameras pointing, they're all independently picking up the same sound. No one manages to catch the object. I think that what we're hearing, to me, sounds like an object falling. Perhaps in a chest of drawers, or perhaps, you know, something falling within a cupboard or a cabinet. I don't actually think it's the sound of a sash window. And I'm very familiar with sounds of sash windows. So I'm wondering if actually what happens is that you confuse where it came from. And it's not the window at all, but it's something else. Again, it's inexplicable. Again, it is a really clear sound phenomena. Now, if it was a spirit trying to communicate, it's quite impressive. I think that's an interesting phenomenon, and it'd be well worth going back there again.
Go.
Nice one.
That completes the second part of Ghosts of Gloucester. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay listening, as in the third and final part we investigate Cafe Rene, possibly the most paranormally active location in Gloucester.
Ah!